Welcome to the Rochester, New Hampshire History Podcast, a monthly show that will shine a light on a piece of history that has been all but forgotten.
In the grand scheme of things, the 1970s were not that long ago. 50 years in the course of history is just a blink of an eye. However, for most people, 40 to 50 years is a good percentage of their lifetime. Over 40 years ago, in 1977, what did Rochester look like? We can answer that question as we will go back and visit Rochester in the 1977-1978 winter season. This video will show vast changes to the landscape, and conversely, other parts of Rochester will hardly show any change at all since 1977. I hope you enjoy this trip back in time when life went at a slower pace.
The first set of photos shows the St. Charles home on Grant Street. Not much has changed to this building since 1977. Next to the St. Charles home is the Rochester Common. Here is the Soldiers' Monument and the bandstand. The most glaring difference, the monument was ringed by artillery pieces from World War II. Today, these big guns have been removed. Just down the street from the Common is the China Palace. Back in the 1970s, the old Mayberry shoe factory was in the background. Here is a close-up of the Mayberry shoe building.
Across the street from the China Palace was Collins Sports Shop and Cumberland Farms. Collins' building was raised to make more room for Cumberland Farms. Today, Collins Sports Shop is located up the street and still in business. Diagonally from the China Palace were the Kendall buildings, insurance and real estate on South Main Street. Since then, Kendall Insurance has disappeared as it has been bought out by another insurance company. In the 1970s, if you walked down South Main Street from the Kendall buildings, you would see Dr. Smith's office next to the library. The Congregational Church is still located on the other side of the library. And across the street was the old Indian Head Bank. Today, this bank is now known as Bank of America.
From Indian Head Bank, one could easily walk to Central Square. There, a giant Christmas tree is situated next to Parson, Maine. In the background, Woolworth's store is open for business. Here is the Elks building in the 1970s. There was a car wash next to the Elks. In 1977, a car wash cost only 25 cents. Across the street, we can see the back of the Methodist Church and part of the McDuffie Block in the background. The McDuffie Block burnt down in April of 1992.
Here are a couple of pictures of Signal Street, showing houses and the old railroad crossing sign, which has been replaced. Here is another railroad crossing, showing Encore Shoe in the background. Today, this shoe factory is now Lynn Scott Apartments. Staying in the downtown, we have City Hall in the background and a big chimney in the foreground. The chimney was part of a coal heating plant that supplied heat to the buildings on the block. Today, if you visit City Hall, you will not see the chimney, as it is no longer part of the landscape. Over on River Street, we have views of the Holy Rosary Rectory and Holy Rosary Church. Both of these buildings are not there anymore.
Near Holy Rosary was the Wyandotte Mills, before it was made into Wyandotte Falls Apartments. This picture shows the aftermath of a fire that occurred in 1976. Here are 3 pictures of Frisbee Hospital. Since 1977, the hospital has increased its size, adding more rooms and doctors. Our last picture shows St. Mary Church on Charles Street. Today, this building is a residential structure.
This ends the podcast. If you have any questions or comments, please email bobgriffinpodcast@gmail.com and come back next month for another episode of Rochester, New Hampshire History.